All right, so the Caldwell School Board of Trustees are meeting again tonight. It'll be the first time back together since their last meeting was called off due to unruly audience members and safety concerns. The elevated discussion that night was concerning proposed policy 3281, the gender identity and sexual orientation policy, which would lay out how the school district will handle transgender students. And basically, schools would not stop a transgender student from using a bathroom or locker room which corresponds with the gender with which they identify. As we also laid out last month, this policy is already in place in several school districts across Idaho. After all, the Caldwell School District Board of Trustees believes, quote, in fostering an educational environment that is safe and free of discrimination for all students, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression, end quote. So to get ready for tonight's meeting, 3 churches, one from Caldwell, 2 others, Calvary Chapels from Meridian and Star, coupled with an advocacy group from California. The Values Advocacy Council put out a plan for Caldwell. That's what they called it. A flyer explaining what they want protesters to do both inside and outside tonight's board meeting. Let's take back the valley, our valley, says the flyer from San Jose. So we wanted to highlight some of the tips they offer, including how and when to roll your cameras and what colors to wear to look like you're there to support the policy, when in actuality, you're going to change clothes once you're inside to be as crafty as snakes, they say. First, from the plan inside, let's be Christ-like the entire time. Never raise our voices, and when the other side speaks, we should listen quietly, especially if it's kids who have been brainwashed by the left, they said. For those outside, and who may be approached by members of the media, the flyer points out they are not on our side. They claim we, the media, are looking for 2 things: the weird, crazy person and the mean, angry person, as it says. So don't be that guy. Instead, answer questions with nuggets like this. For 6,000 years, they said, of human history, kids never thought they were transgender. For 6,000 years? And they were fine. Where do you think that idea is coming from now? They may say, I don't know. To which you're supposed to tell that reporter, you're a reporter. Why don't you do some research like good reporters used to do? 6,000 years. At the end of the flyer, Neil Mammon, the president of the San Jose-based VAC, sums up what he believes policy 3281 to be. He says, 1, it forces girls to let boys into girls' locker rooms. Forces girls to let boys into girls' locker rooms to shower with them. Forces girls to allow boys to sleep in the same room as girls on school trips. 3, it forces teachers to hide from parents the fact their kids have been brainwashed to think they are transgender. And 4, it encourages kids to think they are transgender if they feel awkward. It forbids any alternate counseling. However, after speaking to Caldwell School District board members and reviewing the policy, it actually does none of those things. Let's ignore that last one because, well, it doesn't really make any sense. But let's look at the others, like the policy clearly spelling out how, if a transgender student wants to use different school facilities, like a restroom or a locker room which corresponds with their gender identity, they and their parents must meet with the principal to develop a plan to meet the needs of that student. And a transgender student, or quote, any other student who has a need or desire for increased privacy may be given that option of using a separate or private restroom or changing area. As for school trips, it says any students may ask for alternative sleeping assignments. It's already taken care of. Teachers hiding something from parents, that was the other thing. Well, it also says when contacting the parent guardian of a transgender student, school personnel should use the student's legal name and the pronoun corresponding to the student's gender assigned at birth unless determined by a previously developed plan. Unless determined by an already developed plan. So maybe it's to avoid a teacher outing a student to their parents who isn't ready to do that yet. How do they handle such situations now? According to a district spokesperson, accommodations have been made for privacy for all students already. Basically like the proposed policy suggests. They're just trying to get it into writing. That meeting begins at 6 o'clock tonight at the Caldwell School District office. We will be streaming that meeting, and we'll have a report on what happens tonight on the News at 10.